All right, what is up, YouTube? So today I'm going to be talking about how to beat Eldlich. A lot of new and returning players are struggling against the Eldlich strategy, and here I want to talk about how you can beat this deck. But before I get into all of the counters, I do want to talk about what the Eldlich cards do, because when you want to beat a certain deck, you want to understand the deck and what they do and what cards they play. So let's talk about the Eldlich strategy. So Eldlich is based around the Eldlich, the Golden Lord, and a lot of these continuous trap cards or trap cards that either special summon themselves or they special summon out the Golden Lord. So the main ones are the Scarlet Sanguine. You're sometimes going to see the White Destiny or the Black Awakening. They all special summon Lord from the hand, deck, or graveyard. And then the Eldlich trap cards, mainly the Yugioh and Conquistador. Conquistador special summons itself by popping a, it special summons itself, but when it does and you have a Golden Lord on the field, you can pop a face-up card on the field. The Yugioh is the same thing, but it banishes a card from the graveyard, as well as the spell and trap cards are able to banish themselves to set a Eldlich or a Golden Land or Eldlich or whatever they're called from your deck to your side of the field. So the Elixirs all set a Golden Land, and the Golden Land all set Elixir cards. So you want to understand that they do that. And then the Cursed Eldland, this lets you do two things. One, you can pay 100 life points to add a Eldlich monster or Golden Land spell and trap card from your deck to your hand. And if this card is sent from the spell and trap zone to the graveyard, you can send one Eldlich monster or Golden Land spell and trap card from your deck to your graveyard. So these are all pretty important for you to know. You want to always know that the continuous trap cards, they need to have Golden Lord on the field for them to have the effects of, you know, popping a card on the field or banishing a card from the graveyard. And then the Elixirs, they all special summon from the hand, deck, or graveyard. And then Golden Lord itself puts itself into the hand, and then you can choose to special summon it from the hand, and as well as being able to send itself in the spell trap card to target one card on the field and send it to the graveyard. So keep that in mind when I'm talking about these counters. So let's now get into the counters. The main counters I would say is something like Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm is very, very good. Not only being able to destroy like not only one, but multiple different spell and trap cards on the field. So this is very good for stopping the Eldlich spell and trap cards, as well as cards like Skill Drain, Vanity's Emptiness, Macrocosmos, D-Fissure, whatever card that says you cannot play Yu-Gi-Oh, you cannot use this effect, you cannot do this. Lightning Storm just deals with all of their spell and trap cards, as well as, you know, other stuff. They might have like trap cards like Ice Dragon Prison, they might have Dogmatica Punishment, etc, etc, and Lightning Storm deals with all of those threats. Another card you can play is Evenly Matched. Evenly Matched reads at the end of the battle phase, if your opponent controls more cards than you do. If you're going second, obviously they're gonna have more cards on the field than you do. You can make your opponent banish cards from their field face down so they control the same number of cards as you do. So what basically means is, okay, your opponent is going to set 5 paths, right? And then you're gonna draw this in your hand, your opening hand. You're going to enter the battle phase. You're not gonna do anything. You're gonna enter the battle phase, and then you're going to go to the end of the battle phase and you're going to activate Evenly Matched. And what Evenly Matched does, it lets your opponent pretty much banish everything on their field until they have one card left, so that you have a evenly matched on the field and they have one card. So basically you're going to be able to banish every single card on the field except for one card, which is very, very solid. You only have to deal with one trap card rather than 50 million, you know, trap cards. So this is very, very powerful. Another thing is the Cosmic Cyclone and the Twin Twisters. Now this is very good. You don't want to blind try to hit a random spell and trap card. You want to wait until they activate Skill Drain or they activate their continuous trap cards like their Yugioh and the Conquistador for you to activate Cosmic Cyclone or Twin Twister. That is very, very good. With all these other like quick play spell cards, like there's different ones. You can play like Twister, MST, Cosmic Cyclone, etc, etc. It can also be the Dynamiscus or the Heavy Storm Duster, which is very, very good. You even have stuff like Red Reboot, which reads, when your opponent activates a trap card, negate the activation, and if you do, set that card face down. Then they can set one other trap card directly from their deck, and then for the rest of the turn after the card resolved, your opponent cannot activate trap cards. So this pretty much says, no, you cannot activate trap cards, and I can basically play for my turn. So this is a very, very solid card, but it's obviously very, very restrictive in that it only deals with Eldlich and not other matchups. While stuff like Twin Twister and Cosmic Cyclone, they're also very good against the other different matchups. So these are like the main cards. I would say Lightning Storm, Twin Twister, Cosmic Cyclone, and Evenly Matched are like the best cards you can play against, as well as Harpy's Feather Duster. Harpy's Feather Duster is obviously very good. It's the same thing as Lightning Storm, but it destroys all spell and trap cards on your opponent's side of the field. So I would prioritize these cards, but I'm going to be going in depth on these more not very specific to spell and trap cards, but you know, things that you can play that are also good against other matchups. So the first card I want to talk about is the hand traps. Obviously, Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring is very good against the Scarlet of Sanguine. This card is very, very good because it special summons the Golden Lord from the deck or the graveyard, which is very, very good, as well as it stops the Black Awakening. So this is very, very powerful against these cards, because them not being able to summon a Golden Lord from the deck or the graveyard is going to be very, very powerful, because they're not going to be able to apply pressure, and that is very, very good. Another card that I wouldn't advise you to get, but it's very, very powerful, is Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansions. This also negates cards like the Scarlet Sanguine and the White Destiny, which is very, very powerful. Another card that can be very, very good is Archfiend Eccentric. If you're playing like a Pendulum deck, this card is like very, very good, because not only can you destroy spell and trap cards while it's in the Pendulum zone, but you can also tribute this card and then target one monster on the field and destroy it. So it has a lot of utility in that it's not only just good against the trap cards, it's also good to pop the Golden Lord. So this is very, very powerful if you're playing like a Pendulum deck. Another card that's like kind of cheesy that you can play is the Ally of Justice Quarantine. This card is very, very powerful because it reads, neither player can special summon light monsters. And if you see that all of the Golden Lord or Golden Land cards, they're all light monsters. This is a light monster, this is a light monster, this is a light monster, this is a light monster. So this can be something very free to play and like very cheeky. You can like just summon this on the board and just keep attacking directly, and you basically win the game. But if they have Skill Drain, obviously that won't work, or they have Dogmatic Punishment, it won't work. But this card, I mean, it's something to play if you have access to it. But I would advise you not to do that. I would advise you to play, you know, the other cards that I suggest. And then other monsters you can play is Denko Sekka. If you don't have a deck that like normal summons, you could play Denko Sekka. It's very good because it reads, while you control no set cards, set spell and trap cards, neither player can set spell and trap cards nor activate spell and trap cards that are set on the field. So basically, you can summon this card while they have set 5, and they won't be able to activate any of those trap cards, and you're free to like summon all your monsters and do all that and like OTK your opponent. So Denko Sekka is very, very cheesy and very, very good. It's very, very powerful, and not many people are going to play around it. They're not going to activate their trap cards preemptively to kind of not get hit by this Denko Sekka. So this card is very, very good and very, very powerful. Another card is Pinkertops. Pinkertops is really good because this is not only good against like the combo decks that like summon a bunch of monsters, you can like attack over it, all these like different monsters would attack and then pop another card, but it's also really good against the trap decks because you can summon this card onto the field. It applies pressure, so they have to kind of deal with it. And then if they activate like a skill drain, you can just, you know, use the effect chain and pop the skill drain. Or if they activate like Conquistador and Scarlet, you can basically activate the effect of Pinkertops and destroy the Conquistador, so they can't pop the Pinkertops, and they pretty much like can't do anything at that point. Another card that is like pretty decent against the Eldlich matchup is Kaijus. You can tribute over the Golden Lord to get it into the graveyard, and now they cannot use stuff like the Conquistador or Hakero to pop your cards or to banish a card from your graveyard. So now let's talk about the other different spell and trap card removal that you can play in your deck. So another card you can play is the Parallel Twister. It basically says, send one other spell and trap card you control to the graveyard, then target one card on the field, destroy it. So this is very, very good, and it's very, very free to play. I've seen a lot of different top deck lists on the Master Duel meta website. You can see that a lot of people are playing this in the side deck for like the best of 3 tournament. So this could be something you can play in your main deck. Another card that's very good is the Galaxy Cyclone. This is very good because not only can you destroy a set spell and trap card on the field, but in the graveyard next turn, you can use the effect to banish itself from the graveyard and then target a face-up spell trap card on the field and destroy it. So it has multi-purpose. So you can not only use that effect once, but you can use it twice. So it's very, very good to deal with back row decks. And I advise you, like, this is probably one of the best cards to have like multi-purpose. And if you have a way to like discard it or send it from the deck to the graveyard, like with Foolish Burial Goods, this card can also be good as well. So I definitely play this if you have like a grass deck, if you're playing the grass looks greener cards, or like a mill deck, or any deck that just like send cards to the graveyard very easily. I would say like Galaxy Cyclone is like priority. Like you need to get this card. Another card that's like very good is like Hatronade. You can pretty much return all of their spell and trap cards on their field, or set spell and trap cards. Let me get that right because it's a different card. That's Giant Trunade. This card is a more fear, more balanced Giant Trunade in that it's Hatronade. So it returns set spell and trap cards on the field. So if they activate something like Skill Drain or Vanity's Emptiness and stuff like that, it won't go back to the hand. But for the other trap cards, it does return them to the hand. So I wouldn't advise you to kind of pick this, but if you do have the option to play this, this can definitely be very, very nice. Another card that's like similar to Evenly Match is Anti-Magic Arrow. So you can go into the battle phase. You don't have to do anything. You just start your turn, go to battle phase, activate Anti-Magic Arrows, and now they cannot activate any of their spell and trap cards on their field that are set. And then you can basically just combo off and do all your plays and pop their cards and do all that type of stuff. So this is like a very, very cheesy card that can be very, very good. And it's an option. It's an option. It's not like the best thing in the world, but it's something that you can play. Another card that you could play is Super Poly. Now, I wouldn't advise you to get this either, but there is a good way to like get rid of their monsters, and that is with the Eldlich, the Mad Golden Lord. This card is very, very big attack, and it takes 1 Eldlich monster plus 1 level 5 or higher zombie monsters. Now, you might be wondering, how am I gonna be able to summon a level 5 or higher zombie or an Eldlich monster? Well, Super Poly reads that you can use your opponent's cards on their field as fusion material. So you can basically activate this, discard a card, send their Golden Lord and one of their trap cards to the graveyard to basically summon out the Mad Golden Lord. And it can be very, very hard for them to deal with because this card, it cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects, and it's very, very good. You can basically do a lot of things with this card. So another card that can be very, very good, but people don't expect it to be good, is Forbidden Droplets. Now, yes, it does not destroy a face up, or as face down spell and trap card on their field, but if you have a big brain, you're gonna see why I'm saying this. So basically, you can go into something like Nightmare Phoenix or the Nightmare Unicorn or any monster effect that says like target a spell and trap card on the field, or banish all spell and trap cards on the field, or destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. You can basically activate that, and then if they have Skill Drain, they're gonna activate Skill Drain, right? And then you use the effect of the Forbidden Droplets to send that monster to the graveyard. And since it's not on the field, the effect of Skill Drain will not negate the effect, because if you read the card, I'll go to it right now. So if you read the effect of Skill Drain, the card says that activate this card by paying 1,000 life points. Negate the effects of all face-up monsters while they are face-up on the field. So that means that if you get rid of your face-up cards with the effect of like Forbidden Droplets, or any card that just says send a card from your field to the graveyard as a quick effect, you can basically send your own monsters to the graveyard, and then the effect will resolve because it's not face up on the field, because Skill Drain specifically says if that monster is face up on the field, it will negate the effect. So this is a very, very good option because it's not only good against the combo decks, but it can be good against the control decks like Eldlich. And now the last type of cards I want to get into are like the other trap cards you can play. And that is the Unending Nightmare. This is very, very powerful because it says you can pay 1,000 life points, then target a face-up spell and chop card on the field and destroy it. And you can only activate this effect of Unending Nightmare once per chain. So basically you can just say, oh, they activate Skill Drain, pay 1,000, pop that. They activate Conquistador. You can basically say, okay, pay 1,000, destroy that. If they say Vanity's Emptiness, you pay 1,000, pop that. So this is basically very, very powerful against the Eldlich deck and a lot of other continuous spell and chop cards on the field or field spells. So this card is very, very underrated and very, very powerful against the Eldlich strategies. And then the last card is the most cheesy card you can play against Eldlich. If you just hate Eldlich, you just want to defeat all Eldlich players, just throw in a roll decree or 2 or 3 and just say negate all chop effects on the field. So this card can be very powerful. I wouldn't advise you to play this, but if you really, really hate Eldlich, obviously you can play this card. But I would advise you, again, if you want to have good options to play in your deck, I would definitely play Harkney's Feather Duster. This is very good. Lightning Storm is very good. The MST is very good. Mystical Space Typhoon. Twister is like a free-to-play option, I would say, as well, as that's very good. Twin Twister is very, very powerful. Cosmic Cyclone, very, very powerful. Parallel Twister is decent as well. The Galaxy Cyclone, if you have a mill deck or any deck that sends cards from your hand to the graveyard, this card is very powerful. Again, you have stuff like the Heavy Storm Duster. This card is very, very powerful. Evenly Matched is very, very good. Unending Nightmare is very, very cheesy, but it's very, very powerful. Call by the Grave, I didn't talk about this, but Call by the Grave, it basically banishes their Golden Lord from the graveyard. This is very, very powerful. And then lastly, I want to talk about Ice Dragon Prison. Ice Dragon Prison is a very, very powerful card. Now, if you don't know what the Eldlich strategy does, it summons a lot of zombie monsters. So if they summon like multiple Golden Lords and they have like a Golden Lord in the graveyard and like a Golden Lord on the field, you can use the effect of Ice Dragon Prison and basically summon that Golden Lord from the graveyard and then banish both that Golden Lord you summon and the Golden Lord on their field to banish both of the Golden Lords. Or you can even banish the Golden Lord that you summon onto the field and banish a Conquistador or a Hakero that they have on the field, and that can be very, very powerful as well. So this can be very underrated as well. So another thing is like Zeus. You have stuff like Access Code Talker. Access Code Talker is also very good because Access Code Talker can banish itself off the field but to destroy a card on the field, and they cannot respond to it. So it's very, very good to have something like Access Code in your extra deck, and it's also generically one of the best cards in the game. Another card can be very, very good. Zerabois and Chisbania. These basically just read when you summon a monster to their zone they point to. You can basically banish cards on the field. These two cards can be very, very good against backrow decks as well, in combination with like droplets. You know, that's very, very good. And then stuff like Zeus is also really good. Being able to activate Zeus and then, you know, activate Forbidden Droplets, send the Zeus from your field to the graveyard, and then resolve the effect to pretty much wipe their whole entire board. So that can be very, very good as well. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was informative enough, and let me know what you guys want to see next, because I'm working on many different decks like Tri-Brigade, Drytron. There's probably like Adamanticators, you know, all of these different popular decks on the ladder. I want to showcase how to beat them. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm out. Peace.